My name is Sara Behairy. I'm a yoga and meditation expert here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I've been in Saudi Arabia for 24 years. My husband is Saudi, and that's what brought me here to Riyadh. I'm from Minnesota, I'm American, and my husband had come to the United States to further his education. And we actually met when I was in high school, and he was going to school with my best friend's older sister. And so we dated for several years. I graduated university, and then we got married, and then I came here. 24 years ago, not a lot was known about Saudi Arabia. It's quite a sort of hidden gem of the Middle East, and not a lot of people had the opportunity to come here. So there wasn't really a lot known about the country. I was fortunate that I did have some Saudi friends before I came, and they kind of gave me an idea of what to expect. But it was, I don't know, I almost had sort of reverse culture shock, because I think at the time there was maybe this misperception of what Saudi Arabia was, and it was very lovely when I arrived. I was very happy. When I first arrived, Riyadh was a much smaller city. I think the population has increased quite a bit in the 24 years that I've been here. And Faisaliya and Mamlaka Towers did not exist. Satellite TV was just a new thing. So it was a bit quieter, I would have to say. Life was very much centered around the home, which was something that I really enjoyed. I'm a bit of a homebody, so it suited me, more of a at-home lifestyle. And also a lot of the culture at that time, and I think still true to this day, very much centered around the home and hospitality. And so there was a lot of gatherings with friends in homes. So when I first arrived in Saudi Arabia, my son was not quite 2 years old, and then shortly after arrival I became pregnant with my daughter. So my first probably decade here in Saudi Arabia was very much about in the home with small children. I have 4 children who are now mostly grown. My youngest is 16. So I spent a lot of time at home, and I think that was one thing that I really appreciated about life here, was that it gave me the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom for many years. I think it's a really exciting time to be here because there's so much of an interest of the youth in the society now. People are much more active. So many new and exciting things happening constantly. So it's interesting to see what was kind of a quiet, sleepy city become a much more international city. I've been to a few of the cities, but not recently. There's been so much change with development of tourism here. I haven't had a chance to see any of that. But my husband's family is actually from Mecca, and most of them reside in Jeddah. So I've been to those 2 cities. I've also was in Dammam once, briefly. Oh, and Taif. I love Taif. Beautiful city there with the mountains, yeah. One of the most beautiful aspects of Saudi culture is the generosity of the people. Very open-hearted, warm people. Hospitality is the highest level here. And so I think it's encouraged me as well to be more generous, to reach out to help other people, and to be more hospitable. I think being excited about being here, I see for myself, I studied cultural anthropology at university, so I love culture. I love learning about all kinds of culture. I just dive right in. It really excites me, and I see that the people who have the greatest success here are people who are interested in learning about the local culture and engaging with the local culture and taking it as an opportunity to expand horizons and learn new things. Those are the people that are the happiest. And Riyadh provides an opportunity. It's such an international city. So there's not just the local Saudi culture, but One thing that I've always really loved about living here is you can be in a gathering of 20 people and have 20 different nationalities and meet people from all over the world. So it's, I think you just have to get out there and have an open mind. Well, as I said, when I first arrived, it was maybe a little bit more traditional than it is now. And so I'm always curious, like, how do people dress and what are their customs about getting married and what are the foods that they eat and what's their daily routine like. And so people were, you know, a little bit quieter society, so it was a bit more traditional at the time. And I had many Saudi friends that invited me into their homes to see more of what their local traditions are to Riyadh, because as I said, my husband's family is from the Western province and a little bit culturally different than here. So it's also exciting to see how they live and how that's different from Riyadh. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I always say I'm living my ethnography. Saudi Design Festival I've been participating in, and that's given me an opportunity. I've been hoping to go to the Biennale, which is the art exhibit. Part of my interest with culture is also definitely within the art world, and so I'm hoping to visit that one as well. My daughters have been to the K-pop concert and also the anime convention last time we had it, so I think they're looking forward to that coming again. Especially when my children were younger, they were involved with Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and part of the scouting program is spending time out in nature with camping and hiking. And so we did have some opportunities to go out as a family and explore different areas just outside of Riyadh. And even though the desert maybe kind of looks like there's not much, but you just open up your eyes and you see interesting life forms. One place that is really beautiful to see and not too far from Riyadh is the edge of the world. And you can sit out there and sit on the edge of the world and look out, and just the energy is quite amazing. Very easy to go into a meditative state out there. So yeah, I do enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I think I've had an interesting experience throughout the years. So because I kind of have one foot in each world, being married to a Saudi, I'm not just completely with the expat community, but I'm also not just completely with the Saudi community. And then we have our own community of women married to Saudis, Americans, and other Westerners. So we kind of have different communities to engage with. But as I said, it's been really lovely just being able to meet people from all over the world. Where I'm from, Minnesota, is a very isolated part of the United States, actually. And it's only in recent years that we've seen more diverse societies. So a part of coming here made that exciting for me, just meeting people from countries I'd never even thought of. And here they are, and learning about their foods and their culture and traditions. I think the value of family. You know, I look at my life back home and also very family oriented. I think people in both countries spend most of their time socializing with family, having fun with family, enjoying family. We have sort of a mix between original art pieces and prints. And both my husband and myself are big art lovers, and some of the people in his family are artists. So we do have a few pieces that were created by his cousins. And then my most recent piece was one by a Saudi woman of doors in Jeddah. She did an interpretation of that, which is really fun to have. We also have a few pieces from Iraqi artists, a few from Egyptian artists, and the large one in the family room is actually from Zanzibar, which was a really exciting trip to get to see that beautiful island, and invite people to give that a try because it's pretty close to Saudi Arabia and has a beautiful mix of African and Islamic cultures. So. Sadly, I haven't been to any of the exhibits as of yet, but some of my friends are actually artists. So I should get out there and support them more because, yeah, the art scene in Saudi Arabia is just taking off. And there's so many incredibly talented people out there with beautiful expressions of the Arab world. I got interested in yoga when I was 14. I went to an alternative education school in the United States, and instead of having gym class, we had a yoga class, and that was when I was first introduced to it, and really fell in love with the way it made my body feel. It's a wonderful way to strengthen and stretch the body, and also bring in that sense of inner peace that I think so many of us are looking for in the modern world today. And then when I first came to Saudi Arabia, there wasn't really a lot of, not a big fitness culture at the time, especially for women. And what I enjoyed about yoga is it's something that once you learn it, it's yours. You don't need a gym membership, you don't need a teacher, you don't need equipment, you just need commitment. And so I was able to practice at home on my own, which I did for a number of years. And then I met a teacher here who was an Australian man, actually. He's since left Saudi Arabia. And he became my first mentor, and he told me that I should teach yoga. And I was like, wow, I just never thought that. I always considered myself just a housewife, very focused on my family. So I was like, me? And he's like, yeah, I'll teach you how. And I studied with him for about 6 months, and then he sent me to his teacher in Bali, and that's sort of where I started my yoga teacher journey. Then with aerial yoga, now that's a really interesting story. So about 10 years ago, a friend of mine sent me an article from Arab News and said, hey, check this out. And it was a story about a Saudi man in Jeddah who was offering aerial yoga. And so I sent him a message and I was like, hey, do you ever come to Riyadh? And he's like, I can. And I was like, okay. And so he came for a weekend and helped me install the setup that I have, taught me some of the basics, and from there I just took off and I went on to study with a few different schools of aerial yoga after that. I start every day with my meditation practice. For me, that's the most important part of my day. I get up, I get dressed for the day, and I sit down with some coffee and do a little reading, and then my breathing exercises, and sit in meditation for a bit. And I find that it's a really wonderful way to start the day because I'm very focused at that point. After my personal practice, I usually start teaching, and so today I had a session with a student on Zoom, and usually, always I cater the class to what the student's looking for. So some people are coming to yoga for maybe they're dealing with high stress levels, or maybe they're dealing with a bad back, or maybe they're looking to strengthen their body. Everybody comes to yoga for a different reason, and I start the session based on what is the student looking for. And so my session today was just more of a basic yoga practice, getting to move the energy through the body and connect with breathing. I usually teach anywhere from 2 to 4 classes a day. Then in the middle of the day, I have lunch with my daughters and some family time. And then often I'm teaching till in the evening. Usually people come to yoga when they're not working, so I often tend to be working when other people have leisure time. My number one hobby is reading. I am a total bookworm since I was a little kid. So I love reading, and maybe as you went through the house, you noticed we got a lot of books, and there's even more that haven't been seen. I love reading. I also love spending time outside in nature. The area of Riyadh that I live in is quite urban, so any little bit of green, we have a small kitchen garden with just things in pots, herbs and peppers and whatnot. I also really enjoy spending time with animals, and we have 3 dogs and 3 cats at my house, so that's a big bonus to life as well. Well, my favorite Saudi food is jadish. It's one of my favorites. It's kind of heavy, but at the moment, for probably the last almost decade, I'm a vegetarian. And what's been interesting is I have some Saudi friends that know how to make vegan jadish, so vegetarian style, and it's amazing. One of the things I love about yoga is the community aspect of it, and when the pandemic hit us, that's one of the things that got the biggest impact, is we weren't able to gather together anymore, which forced us all to go online. And I had resisted teaching online for a number of years. I know a lot of other people did right away, even pre-pandemic, putting content up online. But I just really enjoy meeting with people in real life. So the pandemic forced me to put everything online. So it helped me kind of broaden my horizon a bit. But it was difficult in the beginning. I'm not, when I was at university, we didn't have the internet. So having to learn how to do that, I depend on my children a lot. It helped me with Zoom or setting up social media sites as well. But thank goodness, it seems hopefully we're moving out of that and being able to gather together again, which I think is important for all of us. We all need community back. When I have time off from work, I'm always with my daughters. They are my closest people to me. We really enjoy each other. We share a lot of interests, such as the arts. My daughter is a fashion design student here in Riyadh, and so we share that and passion for fashion. And also we like the same kind of TV programs. We like mysteries and ghost stories and travel shows, things like that. One of the most rewarding things I think about teaching yoga is seeing the impact it can have on a person's life. I had an experience with a student once. She was not very old, maybe over 50, early 60s, who had a heart problem and had been told, I think she'd kind of given up on life a little bit. And just coming into one session of yoga, very gentle yoga, it was not a crazy practice or anything. But having that opportunity to get in touch with her body again, get in touch with her breathing, really transformed her attitude towards life. And so that's the most rewarding thing I think about yoga, is seeing that just teaching someone a few simple skills that they can practice at home on their own, the big transformation it can have. I just really love yoga, to be honest. I have since I was 14 years old. It's just a practice that is so incredibly fascinating and it's never ending. There's always something new to learn. So I also really like learning a lot. So it keeps me interested, engaged, and I just, have a passion for it that grows each year that passes. So I was invited by one of the main sponsors for Saudi Design Festival to share some demonstrations of aerial yoga And their concept, I believe, is that their car is catered towards comfort and how yoga can bring comfort and a stress-free lifestyle. I think the one thing I miss about where I'm from is Minnesota is known as land of the lakes, and we have more than 15,000 lakes where I'm from, so like every neighborhood has its own lake. I miss that a bit, but I really love Riyadh. I've been here so long. I think if I could choose anywhere to live in the world, I'd still pick here. Yeah, but I do miss the lakes from back home. To be honest, I think just seeing the transformation of the country from when I first arrived till now, how it's growing and changing, and I'm constantly amazed at the wonderful things that are now happening here. If I ever leave Saudi Arabia, the thing I'll miss are the people. It's the thing I love the most about here. The people of Saudi Arabia are you just don't meet people like that anywhere else. And I've traveled all over the world. And I know every time I go home in the summer, me and my daughters are both like, oh, we want to go back to Riyadh, that we miss the people, we miss our friends and our family, and just the kind-hearted energy that's here. Very interesting. I mean, I do a fair amount of public speaking with teaching. You know, you're sort of standing in front of an audience every time that you teach, but not with the TV cameras. So everybody's been really kind and friendly and patient. So the one thing I always seek to do in my own life, and I encourage everyone I know, is to practice peace and patience, and to open our hearts and be generous with spirit, spread a little bit of happiness everywhere we go.